I remember back during the campaign of 1980, I used to bring up the subject of waste, fraud, and abuse in the national government, and even mentioned the idea of a commission such as yours. Out there on the campaign trail, it was an issue that really hit home, but somehow back here in Washington, it didn't play as well. To the permanent establishment, waste, fraud, and fraud are a little bit like the issue of higher taxes. It was all okay for politicians to talk about it now and then, but it was never really considered proper to go out and talk about it as if you meant it.
Taking the path to fiscal responsibility is often a lonely journey, but thanks to Elon Musk and Doge, they've brought to light the waste that I've been highlighting for over the last decade.
Our goal is to reduce the deficit by $1 trillion. From a nominal deficit of $2 trillion to try to cut the deficit in half to $1 trillion, or looked at it in total federal spending to drop the federal spending from $7 trillion to $6 trillion. We want to reduce the spending by eliminating waste and fraud, reduce the spending by 15%, which seems really quite achievable. The government is not efficient.
And I would note that in just a matter of a couple of weeks, they've already found considerable waste, fraud, and abuse, in particular within USAID. Among the things they discovered that the previous administration was spending money on were $1.5 million for advancing DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $2 million for sex changes in Guatemala, $6 million for tourism in Egypt, paying for, quote, hundreds of thousands of meals that went to al-Qaeda-affiliated fighters in Syria, funds for the production of opium, the primary ingredient in heroin, in Afghanistan, which chiefly benefited the Taliban, $1 million to help disabled people in Tajikistan become, quote, climate leaders, $1 million to a Hamas-linked charity, and $15 million for contraceptives and condoms in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. You will forgive President Trump and the American people for thinking these expenditures are unnecessary and wasteful.
There was a $4 billion COVID fund in the Department of Education, and there was no receipts required, so people could just draw down on it. They found that money was being used to rent out Caesar's Palace for parties, rent out stadiums, etc. And so the one change that Doge made with the Department of Education is we had the simple requirement that if you draw down money, you must first upload a receipt. That was the only change that was made. You must upload your receipt. And upon doing so,
yes,
nobody drew down any money anymore.
As soon as we asked for anything at all, suddenly the requests were like, oh, we don't need it anymore. Huh, that's interesting.
They were renting Caesar's Palace.
Yes, they were like basically partying on the taxpayer money.
Stadiums.
Yes.
Leasing stadiums.
Leasing stadiums.
You'd think if you were stealing, you'd start small.
They do start small. So generally the fraud starts out small and they try to hide it. But then year after year, if nobody stops the fraud, it gets more and more brazen, and every year it gets bigger.
Doge then publishes these things on our website for maximum transparency. So now the general public, it would have been impossible for the general public to have seen that. Now anyone can just log into doge.gov anytime and see these payments.
In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers. You walk up to a Border Patrol officer and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They could charge you with a misdemeanor or a felony under 1325, or they can make it an administrative offense, like a parking ticket basically. They were told to do that, make it an administrative offense under the last administration. And then you go walk across the border, they do what's called a release from your own recognizance, and they give you an NTA, a notice to appear, which to appear to judge. The wait times on judges are like average 6 years. Look at Grok, you'll see it on immigration judges. There's only 700 of them. This is 5.5 million people. You file a 765, it's the work form. You get this form called the 766, that's the authorization, and then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview, no ID.
There's a lot
of mystery about Social Security and a lot of words about it here's what Democrats have been saying about it.
It's absurd that Elon Musk is trying to eliminate billions of dollars from Social Security.
Elon Musk and President Trump have set their sights on cutting Social Security.
Their goal is clear: destroy Social Security from within.
There are over 15 million people that are over the age of 120 that are marked as alive in the Social Security system.
And that's an accurate figure.
Yes.
Correct.
15 million.
Correct. This has been something that's been identified as a problem, again, pre-existing problems since 2008 at least, from an IG report. So there were some great people working at the Social Security Administration that found this 2008, and nothing was done. And so 15 to 20 million Social Security numbers that were clearly fraudulent were floating around that can be used only for bad intentions. There'd be no way to use those for good intentions. And so one of the things the Doge team is doing is carefully and very methodically looking at those and making sure that any fraudulent ones are eliminated.
The defaults in the system from Social Security to all of the benefit programs have been set to max inclusion, max pay for these people, and minimum collection. That's what's happening. We found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid, as an example. We've gone through, on every benefit program we went through, we found groups from this particular group of people, this 5.5 million people, in those benefit programs. And then what was really, really disturbing us was why. We're asking ourselves why. And so we actually just took a sample and looked at voter registration records. And we found people here registered to vote. In this population, yes.
And who did vote?
And we found some by sampling that actually did vote, and we have referred them to prosecution.
Like when the country was founded, there were only 4 agencies. Today there are over 400. So there's been a 100x increase in the number of agencies since the founding of the nation. And thanks to President Trump, he's now signed 2 executive orders to start to reduce the number of agencies in the government, and the Institute of Peace was one of them, which is why our team went in to try and understand what was going on. And that's when we found all of the craziness, like the weapons in their armory. We found the payments to the Taliban. Right, so just a few hours after we got into their headquarters, we found that their chief accountant had actually deleted over 1 terabyte of accounting records from several years. So you'd have to ask the question, well, why would somebody do that? The Doge team, fortunately, was able to recover that data with the help of a few great employees at the Institute of Peace. And I think the most troubling thing was they received $55 million a year from Congress, and any money that went unspent, instead of returning that to Congress, they would sweep it into a private bank account, which had no congressional oversight. And that's what they would use to fund things like events at their headquarters and the private jets.
The things we're talking about are so basic that the federal government can't pass an audit. It doesn't know where the money's going. So what we're talking about is just like being able to pass an audit. It will enable taxpayers to know where the money is going and know that their hard-earned tax dollars are being spent well.
And no matter what some of the political pros might say, I think the public knows this. And I think they know we're trying and succeeding. And I think they're smart enough to understand that all those stories about waste and fraud are a direct result of a fight that we're proud to say we started in the first place. So let's forget political angles. Let's just trust the uncommon wisdom of the common people